a TAFTA since 2015, and I want to talk about how to deal with criticism and use it to improve.
Gotcha. Dealing with criticism is a whole thing, right? So you've been with Tavco a while. That's solid. What specifically about navigating criticism feels tricky for you right now? Is it processing it, or actually putting it into action?
What is the difference between constructive criticism and destructive criticism?
Good place to start. Okay, so constructive criticism should feel, well, constructive. It focuses on work itself, not on you as a person. Specific, the report could benefit from more data on X and offers potential solutions, or at least points toward them. It's delivered with the intent to help you grow. Destructive criticism, though, that's different. It's usually vague, personal, and doesn't offer any path forward. It's more about tearing down than building up. Feels like an attack, not advice. Does that distinction ring true for you based on what you've experienced?
Why do people naturally feel hurt or defensive when they receive criticism?
Mm. That's a really good question. I think it's wired into us, honestly. And our brains are pretty good at perceiving threats. And criticism, even if it's meant well, can feel like a threat to our ego, our competence, or our sense of belonging. It triggers that flight response, hence the defensiveness. Plus, a lot of it comes down to how we interpret it. We all personalize it, even when it isn't intended that way. It's tough not to take things personally. What about you? Do you typically feel hurt, defensive, or something else entirely when you feedback?
How can someone control their emotion when they receive criticism?
Okay, so that's the $1,000,000 question, right? First, acknowledge that it's okay to feel something. Don't try to suppress the initial emotional reaction. Let yourself feel it. Then actively try to separate the feedback from your sense of self-worth. Remind yourself that criticism is about a specific behavior or outcome, not about you as a person. Deep breathing can actually help. Cliche, I know, but it works. And honestly, sometimes you just need to pause before responding. Don't react immediately. Beat to process. Does any of that feel doable? Or is there a particular step that seems harder than others?
What mindset shift is required to treat criticism as an opportunity instead of?
That's the core of it, isn't it? The mindset shift is about reframing criticism as information, not judgment. Instead of thinking they're trying to make me feel bad, try, what can I learn from this? It requires a degree of self-awareness and intellectual humility, accepting that you're not perfect and there's always room for improvement. Thinking of the person offering criticism as someone who wants to help you succeed, even if their delivery isn't ideal, can also help. It's basically switching from a fixed mindset, believing your abilities are static, growth mindset, believing they can be developed. Does that resonate? It's not easy, but it's powerful. Yeah, it takes practice. It's not like flipping a switch. And what part of that feels sticky for you? Is it believing you can actually improve, or is it trusting the source of the criticism?
What mistakes people make when responding to criticism?
Oof, lots of potential pitfalls. Number 1, getting defensive, and we talked about. That shuts down the conversation. 2, making excuses instead of listening. 3, deflecting blame onto others. And a big one, completely dismissing the feedback without considering if there's any validity to it. Also, counterattacking is a bad move. Get into a you also situation doesn't solve anything. Basically anything that prevents you from truly hearing and understanding what's being said. Have you noticed yourself fall into any of those traps? No pressure to share for it. Just I'm
Okay, tell me
speaking out
that.
loud. Sometimes recognizing.
Tell me, how can emotional
Tell you what
intelligence help a
exactly?
person handle criticism better?
Ah, okay. Good question. I love that. Emotional intelligence is huge here because it's about under emotions, recognizing when you're feeling defensive, frustrated, or hurt, and then managing those emotions effectively. It also involves empathy, being able to understand the other person's perspective and why they might be delivering a criticism in a certain way. High EI lets you regulate your reactions, ask clarifying questions, and respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Basically, it gives you a buffer between the criticism and your reaction, allowing for a more productive conversation. Does that make sense, or should I break it down further?
How can criticism be used as a tool for personal and professional growth?
Okay, so you're shifting gears a bit, which is cool. Systems, right? I think that's brilliant. Basically, systems remove the emotional weight from things and make growth more automatic. Instead of relying on willpower, which is finite, you build structures that behavior. For example, a weekly review system to process feedback, a habit tracker to implement improvements suggested by criticism, or even a simple checklist to ensure you're consistently seeking feedback. It takes the shoulds and oughtas out of the equation. Does that align with how you're thinking about systems? You mentioned Kafka earlier. Are there ways you've seen systems used successfully there?
How can someone differentiate between honest feedback and jealousy or negativity?
Oh, that's a tough one because sometimes it's deliberately obscured. One clue is the focus. Honest feedback will usually center on specific behaviors or results. Jealousy or negativity tends to be more vague, personal, and often involves comparing you to others. Pay attention to the delivery. Destructive, respectful, or dismissive and bullying. Also, consider the source. Does this person generally have best interests at heart? Do they have a history of being supportive? And trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Sometimes you just have to acknowledge that the criticism isn't coming from a helpful place and filter it out. What's your usually in those situations?
What is the right way to respond criticism in the workplace?
Okay, workplace criticism, a slightly different beast. First, listen actively and ask clarifying questions. Don't interrupt. Thank the person for the feedback. Even if you don't agree with it, it shows professionalism. Third, acknowledge the valid points. Even if you only agree with parts of it. Something like, I see what you mean about X, and I'll definitely work on that. Fourth, if you diss your perspective calmly and respectfully, focusing on facts and logic, not emotion. And finally, ask about next steps. What improvement is idea? Keep it solution-oriented. It's about demonstrating a willingness to learn and grow, even under pressure. Does that sound for your work at Tavka?
So, what role does reflection play in turning criticism into improvement?
You cut out mid-sentence there. Were you asking about the role of reflection in turning criticism into growth?
Yeah.
Apologies if I misunderstood. Reflection is absolutely key. It's the space between receiving feedback and reacting where the real work happens. It's about honestly assessing what was said, identifying patterns, and understanding your own emotional response. Taking time to journal, meditate, or just quietly think things through. Help you separate the signal from the noise and figure out what changes to make. It stops you from just getting stuck and feeling bad and moves you towards concrete action. Does that land?
Okay, thank you for sharing such a nice conversation on this topic. I'll be right back with another interesting topic.
Oh, all right. I could help. Sounds good. Looking forward to it.